guys here?
If I had $1 for every time somebody told me that the MCU sucks in Phase 4, I'd have a lot of dollars. And I gotta agree, I think the movies have been very lackluster. Let me just say I haven't seen Black Panther yet. And then I started to think about another reason why Phase 4 hasn't been the best. And then I started thinking about these Disney Plus shows. So today I'm gonna review every Disney Plus show, give it a rating, and see if these shows are really the problem. Starting with Wandavision. This show feels like a breath of fresh air within the MCU. Wandavision mixes like 5 genres into one show. Sometimes it's a comedy, sometimes it's a drama, and sometimes it's just creepy.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Wandavision had a lot going for it at the time of its release. First of all, after almost 2 years of no Marvel movies due to that damn COVID, WandaVision finally released on Disney Plus. It's also the first Disney Plus show. And Marvel fans were hyped. Along with being the first Disney Plus show, WandaVision also kind of acts as the start of all the multiversal theories, which we'll get into later. And before you type on that keyboard, yes, the multiverse was discussed in Far From Home, but Mysterio was just lying. He ain't know nothing. Getting back to WandaVision, the first couple episodes are similar in the fact that they all take place within a certain time period, and the plots are pretty simple to digest. In the first episode, Wanda and Vision, oh shit, that's why they call it that. Forget why they put a heart on the calendar.
How'd that get in there?
This leads to some miscommunication in the episode because Wanda believes it's an anniversary, but it turns out Vision is supposed to have some boss come over for dinner. Something that is pretty, nice about this show is that it's actually funny.
You could point out that the death rate of single men is twice that of married men.
Now that's romantic.
Recently, the MCU has been kind of relying on its brand, and the jokes have been lazy. But in this show, I was actually laughing at moments that I felt like I should have been. And that just makes sense, doesn't it? There's a certain mystery looming throughout the beginning of the show because it's unclear what's really going on here. Is some evil villain messing with Wanda and keeping her in this illusion? Or is Wanda turning heel and actually making people into her Westview slaves? Yes, she is. But before we as the audience, yes, I'm talking to you, before we all know that, there are constant hints thrown at us telling us that Wanda is behind everything. But no, it's actually Agatha all along. Episode 3 is like the first moment in the show. Like I already said, a couple of hints have been thrown in the show to try to confuse the audience, like the red drone within the black and white filter. Or every time Wanda starts erasing Vision's mind when he starts throwing out accusations at her. Kind of like that white flash from Men in Black. However, when Wanda mentions the fact that she has a twin to Geraldine, who's not actually Geraldine, Geraldine says,
"He was killed by Ultron, wasn't he?"
So Wanda kicks her out of the simulation because she knows too much.
What did you say?
What did you say?
Now, we get to see what's going on outside of the illusion. But first, we're gonna need a little backstory. Monica, don't call me Geraldine, was blipped and returns 5 years later in a hospital with a bunch of other people who were also blipped. Monica works with this group, SWORD, and they've been monitoring the whole dome illusion situation. Monica accidentally goes inside Wanda's illusion and is now Geraldine. Full circle. She also forgets where she is and loses her memory for a little bit, and she starts unraveling stuff as she goes on. Also, Darcy's in this show. No, not that Darcy. Kat Dennings. And I love Kat Dennings. She's a great actress.
Damn, girl, you look good. What you doing later? Can I get you over?
Great actress. So I'm fine with Wanda being in this sitcom world that she's created, where there's a laugh track and a filter, but like, did Wanda hire some cameramen or something that we can't see? How can Darcy and Mr. Wu get this HD satellite footage on their little TV screen? It makes no sense to me personally. The director of SWORD is making Wanda out to be a bad person because some of the stuff that she did in the past. And he's kinda right.
She's holding thousands of people hostage.
And it could have been thousands more if she hadn't put up her own quarantine.
What? So far, WandaVision has been a great show. Better than I could have even imagined, to be honest. But then, the show turned stupid. I wouldn't say the quality of the show dips or anything like that. I really like episode 7, which is like an Office hybrid episode where Wanda starts losing control. There's still some mystery to unfold and all, but I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Why would they bring in Evan Peters, Quicksilver, just to turn him into a gag? Was this really necessary? Also, the idea of Wanda trapping hundreds of people in this Inception-based world was an interesting concept. We have yet to see an Avenger turn to the dark side unless you count Hawkeye from Endgame or Hulk, which I don't. And I feel like Marvel was going into an interesting direction, but you can tell they kind of pussied out. Because instead of just making Wanda evil, they decided to just shoehorn Agatha in there.
Who's been messing up everything? It's been Agatha all along.
But here's the thing. Wanda still created this entire illusion where she forced people against their will to be enslaved here.
Please help me. What day is it?
You have to stop her.
And when outside people tried to stop her, she made a bigger dome. So Agatha bad, Wanda also bad. Wandavision is still a good show though. Even though Doctor Strange in the Multiverse kinda made the ending to this show meaningless. I'd give this show a 7.5 out of 10. Could have been better, but it was still pretty good. P.S. White Vision looks cool and all, but I'd like to see some explanation in the future, okay? Unlike WandaVision, which mostly has a mysterious type of vibe to it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier feels a lot more like an MCU show, and I'm not complaining. When I envisioned the Disney Plus shows when they were first announced, a show like this is kind of what I had in mind. I thought Disney Plus would just be a catch-up to let us know what Earth's mightiest heroes were doing when the movies weren't going on, and I think that this show does that for Sam and Bucky. Let's start with old Bucky Barnes. Bucky's character is still atoning for his sins of the past where he was mind-controlled into killing a bunch of people. And, well, that's kind of it.
I'm no longer the Winter Soldier. I'm James Bucky Barnes, and you're part of my efforts to make amends.
To be honest, Bucky doesn't really add a lot to this show. He kind of acts as the comedic relief.
Hello, how are you?
Bucky is still a little heartbroken over Steve choosing Sam to be Captain America instead of him, but eventually he gets over it. Sam, however, has a lot more development as a character. So Sam got the shield at the end of Endgame, so he's feeling a huge amount of imposter syndrome and gives the shield away to the government because he doesn't feel like Captain America. But the government gives the shield to this dickhead. Oh, we'll get there. So now Sam is like, wait a minute, I can be Captain Falcon. But there's only one problem. The big elephant in the room, Sam is black.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
And I'm so happy the writers decided to focus on this. Imagine in real life if there was a Captain America and he died and a brother replaced him. There's so many historical events that would make that just a little awkward. I mean, look what happened to Obama when he became president.
A fist bump, a pound, a terrorist fist jab?
In general, Falcon and the Winter Soldier feels a lot more thought-provoking than your usual stupid popcorn flick movie. It does have the feel of an MCU production, but it feels more political and serious. So it kind of reminds me of The Boys.
We're just standing here talking.
Just give him your ideas.
No, I'm not giving him shit. We're just talking.
Hey, look, is this guy bothering you?
No, he's not bothering me. Do you know who this is?
God damn the Flag Smashers. Look, the Flag Smashers were cool in theory. I mean, a group of people who thought the world was a better place after the snap. That's a new story thread that the MCU hasn't really dove into. And it probably would have worked a lot better if the antagonists weren't portrayed as the victims. I do like Sam a lot, but his defending of this Carly person is really annoying. She's killing people, Falcon! Zemo's in this show, and that's nice. I haven't even gotten to the best part of this show, and that is John Walker's Captain America. Now, technically, Walker isn't the villain of this show. It's actually the Flag Smashers, but nobody cares about those scrubs. John Walker is one of the best written villains in the entire MCU. Walker is a soldier. You could even say he's the perfect soldier. But do you remember what that scientist told Steve in the first Avenger?
Because a strong man who has known power all his life may lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
Even though Walker's a great soldier, he's not really a great person, even though his heart's in the right place. He tries hard to be a wish version of Captain America, but unfortunately he can't live up to the GOAT.
I could do this all day.
Walker's just a regular dude, so he's not super strong or super fast, and this really starts to get into his head. After getting his ass kicked by some Wakandans, Walker decides to take the super soldier serum. Damn, this really is like The Boys. While Falcon and Bucky are fighting the Flag Smashers, Walker and his buddy Lamar are also fighting them too.
One more. One more. One more.
Bucky and Sam both detain evil Captain America and he's stripped of his title. Walker does get his redemption in the end, and we'll see him again in the Thunderbolts. Also, Sam ignores the old man and chooses to be Captain America. Excuse me, but let me just make a couple of Captain Falcon jokes real quick.
Falcon kick! Bucky! Falcon kick!
Oh, I forgot, George St. Pierre's in this show, by the way. But I'm more of a BJ Penn guy myself. So at the end, the Flag Smashers fight and Carly dies. Then Sam has this speech at the end. You can watch it somewhere on YouTube if you're really interested. But I think it's a pretty good speech. My only problem with this speech is that Sam is somewhat still defending Carly.
I mean, this girl died trying to stop you.
And nah, she's a pretty bad person. 8 out of 10, I like this show, but I'm gonna probably forget the Flag Smashers. When Loki first aired, I was convinced that it was the best MCU show so far. Obviously, if we're not considering Daredevil as an MCU show. I really liked how Loki felt important to the overall Phase 4 main storyline, and how seamlessly they transitioned Loki from evil anti-hero to a more sympathetic character.
How do you keep your food shut up?
However, after rewatching this show, I gotta say Loki is low-key amazing. So this Loki isn't the same Loki that had growth in Thor: The Dark World and Ragnarok. No, no, no. This is the Loki from 10 years ago that was fighting the Avengers in New York. In Avengers Endgame, 2012 Loki took the Tesseract and disappeared. But now he's got his own show and things are looking good for him until he gets arrested within the first 5 minutes of the show. Loki gets taken by the TVA, and if you don't know who the TVA is, then fucking Google it. I'm joking, I'm not that much of a dick. Take it away, Miss Minutes.
Long ago, there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battling each other for supremacy. But then the all-knowing timekeepers emerged, bringing peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline.
Yeah, you get it. So obviously, as we all know, 2012 Loki was evil. So in this show, he's gonna need someone to change his perspective, you know, get his attitude adjusted just a little bit. And who else can do this but Owen Wilson? It's really hard for me to take Owen Wilson seriously.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
But he's doing a great acting job in this show and is mostly a serious character. Loki goes through a lot of emotions in this series. Not only does he find out that the Infinity Stones don't really matter anymore, but he also gets a glimpse into his future, and it's not looking good for him. So this, along with the fact that he's trapped, makes Loki into kind of a sort of a good guy. This show is executed very well. There's a lot of exposition that needs to be explained in order for the TVA to make sense in the MCU.
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
There's also a couple of important characters that are introduced, like Loki's variants. The only variant that really matters in the grand scheme of things is Lady Loki, or Sylvie. Sylvie and Loki's on-screen chemistry is pretty fun to watch, and anytime I get to see some more Loki, I'm not complaining. The pacing of the show is also done very well. One of the main complaints I've seen regarding these Disney Plus shows is that they feel like long movies split into 6 parts, rather than a series. And I can confirm that this show does not feel like that. I gotta talk about Jonathan Majors' performance as He Who Remains. His screen presence is valid, and I can't wait for his portrayal of Kang in Ant-Man 3. But until then, I'm gonna just keep rewatching the scene because he's doing a phenomenal job. There's one moment in particular in this scene when Major really shows you his range as an actor.
We just crossed the threshold.
It's easy to have loud screaming monologues to show off your acting chops, but when an actor is able to convey emotion on their face without even saying a word, that's some damn great acting. There's a reason why Loki is the only show to get renewed for season 2. I'd give Loki season 1 a 8.5 out of 10. I remember a time when Hawkeye was my second favorite Avenger, after the best Avenger, of course. But somewhere, I just started to not care too much for Hawkeye. He wasn't really given the main spotlight anymore, and it was hard to stay invested in his character. It was nice finding out that Hawkeye was going to get his own show, and all I expected from this show was a nice, inoffensive, nice little Christmas superhero show. And I was digging Hawkeye at first. I'm not going to break down the plot of this show, because it doesn't really need a recap. It's kind of generic. Yeah, I don't know what part of New York this is, but there's usually a lot more traffic than this. I might sound like I hate this show, and I swear I don't. I appreciate how this show subtly addresses Hawkeye's time as the Ronin, because he should feel a little uneasy about being on a murdering spree for 5 years. Yelena is in this show, and she's a great addition to the cast. Another thing I greatly appreciated is how this show pays homage to Black Widow.
You were the bravest of us all, weren't you?
Natasha deserves all the flowers she can get in the MCU because she's an OG. The villains of this show are forgettable. Echo is an interesting character, and I'll watch her show when it comes out, whenever that is. But as of now, it's gonna be a meh for me. Then there's Kate Bishop.
Oh, Kate Bishop, you are so funny.
I wouldn't say I don't like Kate Bishop. I'm like, leaning toward she's cool. But I don't know. I didn't realize I was watching the Kate Bishop show. I don't know the runtime for each character, but it literally feels like Kate's in this show longer than Hawkeye. But to be honest, Kate and the villains aren't the reason why I don't like this show too much. Because the first 5 episodes of this show range from decent to really good. But then...
Look at this. Who's that with my mom?
Well, that's the guy I've been worried about this whole time. Kingpin.
William D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk is one of the best castings of any comic book character ever. Up there with Iron Man and Wolverine. Even when I'm playing Spider-Man on the PS4, I hear his voice when I'm fighting against Kingpin. So imagine my frustration when I see what they did to my boy in this show. D'Onofrio's acting is still up to par with the stuff that he was doing in Daredevil, but they nerfed the hell out of Kingpin in this episode. It wouldn't even be that bad if Kingpin was supposed to be like a little cameo or something, but he's literally the big bad guy. The motherfucking final boss doesn't even fight Hawkeye. He doesn't fight Hawkeye. He fights Kate Bishop.
What the fuck, man?
And gets his ass kicked, and then gets shot in the face by Echo.
Sometimes family doesn't see eye to eye.
But it's okay, guys. Look, Yelena and Kate are having some funny back and forth banter.
I mean, it's Christmas Eve. Let's grab a drink, huh?
That was good form. But you did it really cool.
Stop making me like you.
No. Come on, that is so annoying.
And I hate being that pessimistic guy. I mean, look at this shot. It's so sexy. I don't think the finale of this show sucks, but it was underwhelming. 6 out of 10. From Wandavision to Hawkeye, I was pretty consistent with my Disney Plus MCU watching schedule. If I didn't watch it the first day it released, I probably caught it a little bit later after. But something about this show wasn't catching my attention. I also heard some sort of negative reviews on this show, and I guess at the time I was like, no thanks. But here I am, getting ready to watch Moon Knight for the first time, so see you soon.
Damn, that shit was
boring. Moon Knight is like a psychological thriller and a superhero show mixed into one. The psychological thriller genre is a personal favorite of mine. Between movies like Fight Club, Seven, Gone Girl, psychological thrillers don't miss. I also like David Fincher a lot. However, the problem with Moon Knight is that it never fully commits to one genre. Sometimes it wants to be this thought-provoking Inception-like experience. Then at other times, it's a MCU superhero hybrid with a lot of confusing history to explain.
To face her judgment. And in the wake of their screams, evil eradicated.
There's a lot of information and characters thrown your way. And that might sound a little dumb, because like don't all shows have information and characters thrown your way. So let me explain a little further. Oscar Isaacs is playing like 3 different characters, and is mainly just asking questions throughout the whole show.
Like I said yesterday, they
Wait, what do you mean yesterday? I wasn't here yesterday. That's worth exploring, isn't it?
Arthur Harrow is played by Ethan Hawke and is an overall boring character. You know what really grinds my gears in Moon Knight? So one of the split personalities characters' names is Steven. Steven has the ability to switch into different versions of himself that are all stronger than him.
I am never giving you control again.
Every time Steven switches to a different alter ego, they end up kicking all the bad guys' asses.
No, the idiot's back.
So it really ruins the tension for me when I'm watching Steven run away for no reason when he can just summon the suit. In episode 2, Steven's about to get tortured or something, and then Layla comes in to save him. Layla? Who let you in here? She helps Steven escape, and then Layla literally tells Steven 1, 2, 3 times to summon the suit.
Steven.
I can't.
So is your alternative to die? The thing is, he actually does summon the suit in this scene, as he's thrown out a window.
Summon the
So I guess Steven just likes to live life on the edge, doesn't he?
Jeez Louise, man.
Mark is another one of the personalities and has a relationship, maybe, I don't know, kind of, sort of, with Layla.
I said, okay, yeah, I'm still your wife.
Wait, they're married? When Layla first runs into Steven, she's confused why this guy who looks like Mark is talking like the lizard from the Geico commercial. There's a lot of nitpicking I could try to do if I really wanted to be an asshole, but let me just ask this question. So Layla's like, how come you don't remember me, Mark? With all the stuff we've been through, with our history, blah, 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 exposition. But as the show continues, there's multiple instances where Layla says she feels like she doesn't even know Mark. There's even a point when she's so mad at Mark because he keeps lying to her that she's about to kiss Steven. What am I watching? On some level, I feel kind of bad for Oscar Isaacs because when it comes to being in these nerdy pop culture projects, he's not given the best roles. Poe Dameron in Apocalypse. I think Oscar Isaacs is doing great in this series, acting-wise. He's given this James McAvoy and Split-esque performance, but the acting can only help this weak-ass plot so much. One more thing. Harrow is most likely killed in this show, but not in the show, in the post-credit scene. Mid! Harrow sucks, the show sucks, 5 out of 10.
Oh, doesn't sound so bad to me.
Maybe it's because I just sat through that abortion that is Moon Knight, but I actually really liked Miss Marvel. I was looking forward to this show because I played that Avengers game. Trash! And Miss Marvel was kind of the main character of that game. I was pretty familiar with Kamala's origin story, and all I needed from this show was a smooth and easy watch.
Following.
Yes, keep going.
And I'd say this show delivers on that. The tone is mostly lighthearted, and it's a nice coming-of-age story for Kamala. Another thing that really helps this show are the supporting characters. I enjoyed the dynamic between Kamala and her friends Bruce and Nakia. Kamala's parents also added some much-needed heart into this show.
I mean, I, for one, am so proud of you.
I don't know, I feel like I'm being too positive right now. But I really appreciate how cute and cheesy this show is. The directing in this show was also pretty dope. It's the little things that count, guys. I will say the one thing I did not like in this show was Damage Control. Damage Control are the villains in this show, and they are forgettable. You know, most of the Disney Plus villains are pretty ass, now that I think about it. Maybe there's a problem here, MCU. You want to know how useless Damage Control are? They were beaten by the ultimate modern-day superpower. Social media. Hashtag canceled. Still, I'm feeling pretty positive. 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7, but I'm gonna still give it a 6.5. All right, what's next? Is She-Hulk a good show?
No.
Let's address the political elephant in the room. She-Hulk hates men.
Well, here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me.
At least that's what most people think. I'm pretty sure the writers of this show are fully aware of the hate the show is going to receive from certain people.
We got a couple haters.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, all right, let's just fuck with these misogynists. Personally, this doesn't bother me too much.
What a specimen.
Did you just call me a specimen?
I just feel like there are parts where it's a little bit unnecessary. But hey, maybe I'm just not the intended demographic.
You do not need him. Or her. Or them.
But you do need shoes, because this is a public bath.
Yes, queen. Something you gotta be aware of before watching She-Hulk is that this show is cheesy as fuck. And hey, I like when things are cheesy. I don't think this show is supposed to be taken that seriously. Jen is constantly talking to the camera.
This isn't even a reluctant superhero story. I'm just getting screwed over.
And the tone is pretty campy, even for an MCU production. I'm pretty sure this is a comedy, and I think that they addressed that somewhere in the series.
Jen, that Hawkeye guy, what happens to those arrows of his? I mean, does he go around and collect them when he's done?
That's actually a great question. But I have a question. So Jen's family knows that she's not an Avenger, right? So why even make this joke in the first place? Oh, the CGI. I'm not someone who usually complains about the CGI unless it looks basura, and it's bad in this show. It's so bad that it actually becomes distracting. I might be in the 1%ers out there who actually liked The Incredible Hulk, but Abomination is in this show, and I really enjoyed how they kind of redeemed his character.
I thought I was going to be, Captain Bloody America. Something.
Speaking of the Incredible Hulk, you know who I don't like in this show? Hulk. I've heard a lot of Hulk fans be upset about the way Hulk is portrayed in this show.
She-Hulk disrespects the Hulk constantly.
No. The MCU disrespected the Hulk. First of all, guys, they're supposed to be cousins. Relax. And second, I don't know what MCU these people have been watching because the Hulk's been asked for years.
I'm a completely different person now, literally.
Hulk has been a more comedic character in the MCU for literally like 5 years, and I hate it truly. Hulk doesn't feel threatening at all anymore. He kind of acts like Shrek.
Better out than in, I always say.
Many of the latter complaints I hear about She-Hulk is about the man-hating and the CGI. There's actually another major problem that I think is lost in translation. I have another question for you guys. Why does this show have 9 episodes? At the beginning of my She-Hulk watching time, I was ready to defend this show. The first few episodes weren't even that bad. But as I kept watching, the plots kept getting pointless.
Awesome.
There's a lot of shitty dialogue in this show, with a lot of characters that I don't care about. Daredevil's in this show.
I'm here.
Surprisingly, I actually liked his addition in this show. I was really scared about what they were going to do with him, especially after watching Kingpin and Hawkeye. I really thought that they were going to turn Daredevil into this like quip machine, but I feel like they kept him mostly faithful. The only gripe I have with him in this show is that he doesn't do the best job at protecting his identity. But who cares? The show sucks anyway. The finale of this show is actually terrible. I get it. She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall. Haha, so funny. But She-Hulk stopping a fight, going to the MCU headquarters, and talking to a robot Kevin Feige is not funny.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
I feel like there should be a certain continuity that keeps the story from devolving into madness so that it makes sense. And the finale of this show just completely killed all that. She-Hulk continuously gets worse every episode after like episode 4. Then episode 8 is cool, and then the show gets ruined again by the finale. Meg the Stallion is also in this show.
I said, damn, bitch.
I'm kind of flirting between a 3 and a 4 right now, and I could do a 3.5 if I want to go down the middle. Because I want to make a statement, I'm going to give this show a 3 out of 10 because it sucks. So are the Disney Plus shows to blame for the lackluster Phase 4? Kinda. I can't give these series all the blame. I mean, did y'all see the Eternals? But I do think a lot of these shows are underwhelming in execution, and some of them honestly feel like minimal effort was put into them, which is sad because the MCU was once known for its long-term storytelling. But whatever, I'm still gonna watch the movies regardless.
Kind of a bummer way to end this episode. I bet there's a fun tag.
Don't be shy. Subscribe to that guy.